again, as requested by the board earlier, that we are providing bi-monthly updates of our 2 schools that are working on full accreditation.
And I know it says Jan Hobbs, but I am substituting for Ms. Hobbs tonight, who is ill. So while I'm standing here, I'm going to go ahead and do the preliminary SOL scores for Alleghany High School before I let Ms. Rowe come up and do the Clifton Middle School report. You have these in your packet, and we are cautiously optimistic. How is that? We have showed significant improvement from the 2016-17 fall scores. English from 76 to 80% pass rate. History from 78 to 74, but we're still staying right there. Math from 59% pass rate to 72% pass rate, and science showed an increase from 76 to 86%.
What was the math pass rate again?
The math pass rate was 72%.
Up from?
59. Again, cautiously optimistic.
We're getting there.
And going forward, of course, we're continuing to do what we did this semester, drilling down, looking at individual students. One change we are going to make is when we looked at retakes, we wasn't getting as much out of them as we wanted to using the flex block. So we're going to go away from that and just concentrate as we get closer to the SOL, just do some more target remediation that way, because like I said, looking at our numbers, the flex block just didn't work as we anticipated. So.
And we continue to meet with the high school staff every 23 days. We've got one coming up to review how students are doing. I want to commend the high school on identifying the high school administration staff and the teachers for identifying students and providing needed intervention strategies for all those students. And as you can see, it is starting to make a difference, and we will remain optimistic that those trends will continue. So I want to thank you for the hard work on that, Mr. Rowe.
We're very proud of the high school students and staff and the hard work they put in for a semester.
Yeah, it's what the students and staff do.
It takes a leader to do that, Mr. Ross. Ms. Mutispaugh, Dr. Heath, you're working with those groups as well. And it's kind of you to say that staff and students it does, but it takes a leader, and you're providing that leadership, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're up.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know where Bailey went. Public speaking ability. We are continuing on our trek mid-year. We're looking pretty good. I want to thank Cindy Fox. She is my she's part of my brain. We have been crunching numbers like crazy. We just took our recent interactive achievement mid-year test, and our students doing an SOL comparison. And in doing that, we've kind of targeted our kids. We keep our arrows and our targets keep moving, which is good because kids keep flexing out of that group that we have to worry about. When we look at our Tier 2 students and our Tier 3 students, my groups are based on what my teachers look at as far as watch lists. We look at a little bit of everything in kids. When I looked at the numbers that my staff and I talked about, they looked high to me and I almost had a little bit of a coronary, but they watch them so closely that they make me nervous sometimes, but they want all of them. So we are working really hard to do those things. One of the things that we are focusing on heavily is students with disabilities. That's something that's really important to us to get our numbers up in, because that's one of the things that hurt us most last year. We're definitely working with our attendance data, because that's something that has also been difficult with us, but also understanding remediation data. What do we do once we get there? My teachers are phenomenal, and when we look at information, we don't just look at it, put it away, and move on. They're great about putting things together and spiraling instruction back to things that they didn't know. One of the things that we didn't know how to work with was Falcon time at the end of the day. We have finally gotten ourselves to a place after months of trying to figure it out where Falcon time is working. And the teachers are absolutely ecstatic about it, and I'm absolutely ecstatic about it because it's hitting the kids where they need to most and putting the kids with their teachers, which is where they need to be the most. We also are using the Aspire program for students who are well below their reading level. We're using Fusion for students who are within that Tier 2 reading level, and we have just brought on board a new writing program. It's an online program that analyzes students' writing ability, and it's revision software. So it's something that I'm really excited about looking at, and we're starting that next week. We had a little webinar snafu the other day, but we're going to do that with the English department on Monday. So we're working hard. They're working hard. And like I said, if I didn't have Ms. Fox to help me with the data part, my head would probably be spinning off of my shoulders. So I guess you have the information in front of you. I don't need to read it to you. So you have questions?
If I could add one piece, Ms. Rowe. I know that we had a vacant position in your social studies department due to long-term illness. We made the decision to bring an interactive online teaching program into the building because we could not find a qualified substitute
Correct.
to put in there. I refuse to put in, as the state requires us to put a long-term sub in there that doesn't have the academic background to provide our students.
Correct.
And so therefore, we're looking at this program to be used at different times throughout the division to provide us help with certification. And so you've only been in that program about 5 or 6 days, and how's that going?
It's actually going really well, and it's something, it's distance learning is what I call it. It's something that I did in high school for a Latin class, and the kids are doing really well at it. They seem to enjoy it. We have 2 proctors in the room that work with them daily.
But they also have a teacher.
They also, yeah, they
So
yes,
not,
they have a certified teacher,
Yes.
and Miss Page. We talk to Miss Page, the kids talk to Miss Page, Miss Page talks to them. So the kids they have their own headsets with mics, so they talk to her on a daily basis, and it's going very well. And the other thing that Mr. Patelka also brought up is that because we did not also want to take a substitute in our math department, our math teachers have also absorbed our math kids, and I've got the best teaching with my kids. So when we talk about those classes, I don't want anybody to think it's called proximity learning. I don't want anybody to think it's subpar to what we're doing. It's the future of what we're doing. It's going to allow us to open up options that we haven't had before.
And it's not meant to replace teachers.
No.
In lieu of finding somebody who's not qualified for the classroom.
Absolutely. And it does open up options. I don't know too many people that teach
Mr.
Latin.
Wright, one of the things you and I, actually Mr. Tucker, have had a lot of conversation about is as our division continues to lose students for growth, if we look at our outlying schools, that's possibly a way of keeping sometimes schools open. You take a look at North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana. How do they, when they have we're considered in the nation medium large, okay? Now that's amazing, but there are divisions medium, small, and real tiny. And so, you're in Montana and you have a school of 100 students. How do you provide them the same instructional content that we provide here with 2,000 students? They can't travel to the next division because it's 100 miles away. So how do you do it? Well, you have one division that may concentrate on science and one develop on math, and then it's interactive. So you actually have a teacher in the classroom. The only difference, they're not standing in the classroom, but they're actually online. And so anybody would like to see that, you can certainly give myself a call, Ms. Mutispaugh or Ms. Rowe, and they'll be more happy to have you come in so you can see what's happening there.
And she can see them. So she calls on them. They don't realize she's doing it, but she can see them. And I have had 0 parent negativity about it. Zero. So it's
They're
going really
utilizing
well.
the cameras that are embedded in their Chromebooks. So it's completely interactive. She sees them, they see her. I was over the other day walking through, there was a young man who was having a conversation with her. I could not hear what she was saying to him because it was going through his headphones, but he's nodding his head, and he finally says, "Yes, ma'am," and, you know, so they're having some interaction back and forth, and it's pretty interesting to watch.
Thank you for the report.
I actually wanted to make a comment. I was on the Virginia Department of Education website, and I think it's a requirement now to have a virtual class for graduation. Am I correct in saying that?
We do offer at the high school economics and personal finance that has a virtual component.
Because it
And it
said
is
to
a
get your
graduation
advanced
requirement.
diploma and your
That is
standard
correct.
diploma, you have to have a
That is
virtual
correct.
class between 9th and 12th grade.
That is correct.
At least one.
And we do that, it's a blended learning class with economics and personal finance.
That's been a requirement for about 4 years, I think.
It has, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yes, it has.
That was good to know.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, thank you.